All right, and away we go. Welcome to Niners Nightly. Larry Krueger back with you on a Monday night on the Sports Leaders YouTube channel. Hope everybody's having a great night. A better night than the 49ers are having, because the 49ers, of course, lost Nick Bosa yesterday. And, it just, what a kick to the gut for the 49ers. So we got a great hour for you. We're going to go through the game. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly from the game. We're going to talk about the injury, and then we're going to finish up looking at some potential solutions for the 49ers at defensive end and what form that may take. So we'll feel free to jump into the chat, and if you have suggestions of what you want to see the Niners do, fire away. We'd love to hear from you in the chat. And, it's just a tough one. It's a tough one to lose a guy like Nick Bosa, who's just such a great player. All right, what we're going to do, though, is we're going to play some audio, some of the great audio cuts from today. And a lot of them I've reposted on my Twitter, at Sports Larry K. And what we'll do is we'll just go through and we'll play some of the sights and sounds from the NFL as far as the Niners are concerned, from this Monday. And we start with just a rough one. I was on today with Greg Papa and Greg Silver on KMBR. And here is the moment. I'm going to share the screen here. Here is the moment. So now Papa, like us, we all thought that, Bosa was going to have some kind of an injury that wasn't a torn ACL done for the year, because that's what Shanahan kind of led us to believe yesterday. By the way, we're coming on during the Monday night game. It is 7-7 Ravens and Lions. I'm watching this one with great intent tonight, because I do have a 102.76 lead to 85.74 in the KMBR Fantasy League, trying to run my record to 3-0. My opponent has Zay Flowers and Loop, the kicker for Baltimore, and he needs roughly 18 points or so to beat me. So we'll see. We shall see. Root against Zay Flowers and root against the Ravens. And it is now 14-7 Lions. They've just gone in, they have just gone in 14-7. All right, here is the moment that Greg Silver tells Greg Papa that Bosa is done for the year.
There's a lot of ligaments in there. There's the PCL, the MCL, the LCL. It's all kinds of things that could be involved. So basically, we don't know. We do know?
We do know.
Right
Adam
now?
Schefter just put
right
out
now?
there. Tests today showed that 49ers Pro Bowl defensive end Nick Bosa suffered a season-ending torn ACL during Sunday's win over Arizona. It's a clean tear, but Bosa now will need season-ending surgery. Brutal.
Right when I was going through that.
Man.
Wow. That's tough for Nick. As hard as he works, nobody works harder to prepare for a season and a career than Nick Bosa. And for him to lose another year on top, he did tear an ACL in high school.
Wow.
Damn. Which one did he tear in high school? This is 3 anterior cruciate ligaments. Thomas Davis, the linebacker in Carolina, tore the same one three times. So I don't know if it's this is the right. He tore the left one his second year. He's had to endure this 3 times in high school, and the core muscle. He's missed entire seasons at Ohio State, high school, and now this one. And last year, you have no idea how bad that injury was last year. No idea. He was basically, it was ripped off. He shouldn't have been playing. And wow, that is a huge blow for Nick personally, and obviously for the football team.
So that is Pop and Silver hearing about it for the very first time. Just a dramatic moment right there. And, just what can you say? Just another bad break. He lost a season in college. By the way, he was wondering, is it the right? Is it the left? It's the right. And he did blow out the right in high school. So this is the second time he's blown out the right ACL. He blew out the left ACL in 2020. at MetLife Stadium, getting his, I think, cleat caught in the turf, in that terrible turf there at MetLife. So Bosa done for the year, and that was Greg hearing about it for the very first time, and it's tough. Now, here is the play. We're going to share the screen on this as well. This is the actual play. So if you're sitting there going, I didn't actually see which play it was. This is the play. We'll share the screen on this one and let you see the actual play. This is the actual play itself. On kind of a loop, and you can see it's his right, and he had a kind of a weird bend there on his right leg, and it kind of went in and out, and that's it. So he was being contacted on his left side. He was kind of bracing himself on the right side, and obviously he tore it right there. So, oh God, just a bummer, just an absolute bummer for the 49ers. And what a season altering kind of thing this potentially is for Nick Bosa. Just a really, really tough one. So there you go. Now you've heard the reaction to the injury. Now you've seen the injury up close. You got a pretty good handle on what we're talking about. This is what I saw from the sidelines, by the way, because I was looking down on the field with the binoculars, looking at Bosa as he was first laying on the ground on the sidelines. He limped off, and then he was laying on the ground. A bunch of people were surrounding him. Then he started walking towards the blue tent, and this is basically what we saw. He was
down while looking up. It's a little bit of a discouraging sign as
he's looking up,
thumbs down while looking up at someone in the crowd, but outside of the tent right now, he's been kind of working on that mobility.
So that once he gave the thumbs down, it was like, ugh. And I think his family was in the crowd, so he was trying to communicate to them, and he knew it was bad. It was a bad situation, and so Bosa done for the year. Now the question is, are the 49ers done? It was a great win for the 49ers on a lot of fronts. It really was. It was an emotional win. It was a great win. Here is the final celebration for Pinheiro after Pinheiro hits his third field goal of the day to send the Niners into Week 4 with a 3-0 record. And here is a little bit of this.
Let's go! Grateful. Thank y'all for popping out. Week 3 dub, baby. Let's go.
Thank you, 49ers fans. We need you. We need you here next week. We appreciate you and we love you. Thanks for the support. Grateful. Thank you so much for staying the course, staying with us. We found a way. We're always going to find a way, no matter how dirty it is. Let's go. Keep it going.
Go
City! So great moment there for sure after the game. And Eddie Pinheiro is now everybody's favorite. It's amazing what you make a few kicks and suddenly Eddie De Niro. People love Eddie now suddenly because Eddie's making the field goals. They wanted to love you, Jake. They wanted to love you. You didn't let them love you. So that's a little bit of Eddie. It's funny, Matt Lively from KPIX caught up with Charles Haley on the sidelines, the great Charles Haley, and asked Charles Haley a real basic question. Who do you if you could play with one of these guys right now on the Niners, who would you want to play with? And here's what Charles had to say about that. I thought this was kind of interesting. The great Hall of Fame defensive end, Charles Haley.
Nick Bosa.
Why?
Tenacity, his unrelentless pass rushing. I think that would really he has a lot of tools that I use, so I think he would be a great person to play with.
There you go. Could you imagine a line that had Charles Haley and Nick Bosa on it? Now that would have been an amazing line. Somebody put out their all-time Niner defense the other day, and I had to switch it up a little bit and add a couple guys because to me, you got to have like the 5-man line. You got to have Dean and Bosa and Michael Carter and Haley and Bryant Young. So I went with a 5-man line with those 5 men. You know who else? You know what else was an amazing day was had amazing day were the 49ers, the Mac Jones and Ricky Pearsall. And I think we have to show the Mac Jones to Ricky Pearsall because I thought this was one of the greatest passes I've seen any 49er quarterback make ever. This was a 4th and 2 dime from Mac Jones to Ricky Pearsall.
Offense. Jones takes a shot. It is Pearsall. Did he hold on? He did. Offense. Jones takes a shot. It is Pearsall. Did he hold on? He did.
What an amazing pass that was. What an amazing catch. But I think it might have been even a better pass. Oh, my God. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. That was one of the best passes I've seen a Niner quarterback make. I mean, that was just a flat out dime. Stuck it right on his shoulder pads, right in his ear hole. That was absolutely a thing of beauty. But it wasn't all beautiful yesterday for Mac Jones. Here's Mac's 1 interception on the day. And I'm looking at this. I've watched this a bunch of times. I don't know what the heck he's seeing here. What was he doing on this play? This is just a terrible decision by Mac Jones. Here it is. It's 3rd and 5 from the 36. And Mac Jones throws the ball into a Cardinals team meeting here. Watch this.
Mac Jones got a man in Pearsall, but he throws
1,
it away.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Adrian Taylor Demerson with the interception, the first of his NFL career, and Arizona's got it with 5 minutes left.
I mean, this is
Mac Jones got a man in Pearsall, but he throws it away. Picked off by the.
Okay, just back this thing up a little bit. Okay. Okay, so he throws it, and you've got Cardinal defenders here, 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 and here. You got 5 defenders in the neighborhood. And I don't know. I mean, Ricky just didn't quite get to his benchmark point, or Jones led him too much. Taylor Demerson is a pretty.
Pearsall, but he throws it away.
Adrian Demerson's a good player.
By the rabbit. Adrian Taylor Demerson with the interception, the first of his NFL career. And
the rabbit picked it off. So that was just a bad pass. There was no way that was going to be a good situation there. That was going to be a bad decision almost any way you slice that. I mean, there were so many Cardinal defenders there. So that was not a good decision by Mac. One of my favorite plays is the game-deciding play by Upton Stout. I think we got to play this one because this is a message to all DBs. My son who plays high school football, I even told him, I said, hey, watch this play. Watch this play from Upton Stout because this is a catch. But Upton Stout's like, no, it's not. I'm gonna contest it all the way to the ground, and he got it out of there. And this is a great play. The Niners don't win without this play.
Murray wants it all, and it is incomplete. Zay Jones could not hold on, and Upton Stout, the rookie, delivers the blow to force forward.
Around, getting back to the line of scrimmage is okay.
They are going to throw it. Murray wants it all.
I mean, that is a catch if Stout doesn't punch that out. So that was going to be a catch. So, Niners were very fortunate. Very fortunate. That was a really, really nice play by Upton Stout. He punched it out at the last second, and if he doesn't make that effort, Niners don't win. Simple as that. By the way, Ricky Pearsall said after the game, he's like, "Yeah, me and Bourne, yeah, man, I love Bourne. We got our handshake down." It made me laugh. We got our handshake down, and so they do have their handshake down, and they did it on the field before the game. Here is the Ricky Pearsall Kendrick Bourne handshake. Get it from the start here. Look at that. The attention to detail. Very impressive. Very impressive. But you heard Bourne say afterwards, she's like, yeah, man, this kid's impressive. We're starting to see kind of the Ricky Pearsall coming out party as a player. He is something else. He has been really, really good. Really good. And it's been great to see. I mean, it's, I wasn't sure what Ricky was coming into this year. Really didn't know. Was hoping he was going to be really good. I love talking to him. He's a great guy, and he's very much, he's having fun. He's a young guy, but he's having a good time. He's not sitting there going, oh my gosh, I get the weight of the world on me. He's enjoying himself, and he's playing good football. I mean, he could have felt the pressure in this game, and yet he didn't. He didn't feel the pressure. If he said he felt the pressure, he didn't seem to. Now this was the non-safety for Kyler Murray. I want to show you guys the non-safety because I don't think it was a safety. Don't get me wrong. I think they ruled it correctly. The feet were in the end zone, but the hand and with the ball in it was outside the end zone, and 100% have to be in the end zone for that to be a safety. So if you're wondering, going, well, his feet were in the end zone, why is that not a safety? Because that's not the way it's ruled. But here, what I want you to watch on this though is Mikael Williams, Alfred Collins, and CJ West, because none of them win with their initial rush, but they just all keep coming. CJ's right here on the nose. There he is, big CJ West. Alfred Collins is right here, Jumbo Alfred, playing defensive tackle, playing left defensive tackle. Mikael, I believe, is down here, number 98, and I think that's Sam O up there. And watch, nobody wins, but look at the line of scrimmage. The line of scrimmage is like the 11.5-yard line. And they kind of reset the line of scrimmage on the drop back and then just keep working to the quarterback. You get up the field, reset the line of scrimmage, so keep going. Nobody's won. CJ almost wins. He falls down. Now here he's scrambling around. Mikael almost wins. I mean, they just kept coming. Alfred Collins diving at him, at the end. Just keep coming. Now, it wasn't a safety. Robert Saleh was like, hey, it was a safety.
Huge call coming here.
And it wasn't ruled a safety, and it wasn't a safety. It wasn't like the Niners got hosed. I'm not saying that. I just wanted to show you guys that rep because of the effort of Mikael Williams, Alfred Collins, and CJ West. None of those three guys won on that rep, and yet they kept coming. And they almost got the safety, and they did get a good defensive play there. So really, really nice. Now, here's the locker room scene afterwards, which you never get to. Niner fans never get tired of these. This is, the celebration. You got to celebrate. You got to celebrate your wins in this league because they're hard to come by. Bottom line, you got to celebrate every victory. You got to mourn every defeat. But it's unlike most jobs. If you've succeeded or failed. Here's the celebration in the room after.
Let's go, man. Good boy, Eddie. Good boy, Eddie. All right, guys, bring it up.
Guys, unbelievable job, man. The fortitude of you guys, the resilience, the character, whatever happened in that game, guys, you guys didn't panic. We got it done, man. I tell you, I told you guys last night, whoever ran the ball better win this game. That was awesome football. All right, when I look at that and I go down to the end of that game, all right, Mac, you battling through that. D, you guys gave us a chance to run away with it. Upton Stout, where are you, man?
Let's do it. What y'all boys taught me the most, learn how to battle, get hard. Don't put your head down. Always keep your head up and just get ready for the next play. Let's get ready for next week. Appreciate y'all.
Love you guys. Hell of a win. Enjoy it tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow, man.
Let's go, baby! Family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Great scene. Great scene. Anytime you win, you got to celebrate, man. You got to celebrate. And those scenes never get old, right? The locker room after a victory, and they're hard to come by, man. They are hard to come by. I think the Niners discovered something in Mac Jones. I think they discovered that in Mac Jones, they have a guy they can win with. And I was asking the question earlier today, do you think Mac Jones is back in 2026? And the Niners have him under contract, but at $7 million. And, I mean, he could easily look at the Niners and just go, hey, you know what? I want to start. And they would probably try to satisfy him. But I also have a feeling that if he continues to play this well, the Niners are going to want a pretty good little price tag in return. You know, it's not like they're big, oh, yeah, you know, just have somebody throw us a 4th or 5th round pick and just tell us who it's going to be and we'll, you know, send you there. I don't think that's going to go down like that. I think it's if Mac gets a couple more starts and plays the way he has in the last couple starts, I think it's very highly likely that 49ers are going to say, we want a 2nd round pick. We want a 3rd round pick. We want something good in return. We're not giving up our backup quarterback who can start. The other question I would have is, I wonder what Mac would really want. Okay, he's going to make $7 million next year. Would he rather be here? I mean, the guy's already been the starter on a bad team. And then he's been the backup on a bad team. And he played collegiately where all he ever did was win. So he probably fell in love with winning at Alabama. He probably didn't have a very good time in New England or in Jacksonville because he wasn't winning. And in Jacksonville, he wasn't even starting. And now he's in a place where he's like, Brock's one of my best friends. And I don't know if you saw the quarterback celebrating afterwards, but there's a great kinship in that room between Rourke and, Lombardi, Mick Lombardi, the coach, and Adrian Martinez and Brock and Mac. And it's like, there's a good little rapport there. They got a good little thing going there. And I asked Mac about Brock and preparation after the game. And he's like, yeah, man, he helped me a ton. He's like, yeah, earlier in the week, we'd have meetings. We'd be going over a certain play. And then before we'd move on, Brock would be like, okay, so we got that. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And this is our plan on that. And he was like really engaged in what the actual plan was going to be, despite the fact that he probably knew he wasn't going to play. And Mac just said, hey, he really helped me. If the one thing that Sam Darnold talked about when Sam Darnold was a Niner was how Brock helped his preparation. Didn't talk that much about Shanahan and his scheme. Didn't talk about, the weapons they have here. Just amazing. He talked about Brock. And he's like, yeah, I learned a lot from Brock in his preparation. You know, and I asked Sam about it. I'm like, what exactly did you learn? And he's like, well, just that, Brock prepares what is the answer for every coverage that a defense can throw you on every play. And he's not fully prepped and ready until he's got an answer for every potential question that could arise. And that's a professional, that's a professional right there. That's a guy who really knows. That's a guy who really wants to win too, right? It's like the defense is going to ask us questions, and we're and provide questions, and we're going to have to come up with answers. And he's not really content to move on to the next play until he's got answers for this play. And that helped Sam Darnold. And it probably helps Mac Jones. I'm just asking this question. Do you think Mac Jones, who looks like a great fit for this offense, it does also kind of make you wonder, What if they had just drafted Mac Jones in 2021? Where would Mac be right now? Where would the Niners be right now? Would the Niners have a ring right now? If they had just had Mac Jones every year from 21 on or 22 on, I don't know, 21. They had drafted Mac Jones instead of Trey Lance. What would have happened? It's hard to say, but he looks like a good fit right now. And he also looks like a guy who's really enjoying winning. And what did he say? He's like, I really love the support I have here, the support I get from my team here. As if to say, in other stops, and he's only been in Jacksonville and New England, that maybe he wasn't supported the way he thought he should have been. So I thought it was pretty interesting. Here's Mac on the field. Do you think Mac will be here in 2026? Like, what's more valuable to the Niners? Whatever they could get. Maybe let's say they could get a day 2 pick. Let's say they could get a 3rd round pick for Mac Jones, which would be great since you signed him for nothing. What's more valuable, a 3rd round pick or a second quarterback that you can win with? And would the Niners rather have that 3rd round pick, or would they rather just pay Mac, I don't know, a few extra million to stick around as the backup? Hey, Mac, you're going to make $15 million to be the Browns quarterback. You're going to make $15 million to be the Raiders quarterback. But you're going to make $10 million here to be Brock Purdy's backup. What do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want for your career? You've seen Brock go down. You know the system's a good fit for your skill set. I would love to know, because Mac Jones he's different. He's different, man. He's not like everybody else. He's a different cat. And I'd love to know what Mac Jones, how he actually feels about the situation. Do you think, I bet you he would be like, if you got him one-on-one, I bet he's like, dude, I'm so tired of losing. I'm just so happy to be in a good offense with a good offensive coordinator and good weapons and an offense that works and a culture that's healthy and a quarterback room where guys root for one another and share information. And you know what I mean? I could see him just going, you know what? I want to be here. But Brock's the starter. Yeah, I don't care. I want to be here. How about this? How about you give me 3 years, $30 million, and I'll spend the next 3 years here? It might be worth it. It might be worth it if you're the 49ers to have a ready, set backup that you can win with. All right, here's a cut of Mac Jones doing an interview on the field after the game. Listen to Mac in his own words, and you tell me what you guys think is important to Mac Jones. Here he is talking about the win on the field with Christina Pink, I believe this is, from Fox.
Thanks so much. Well, take a breath. Mac Jones, points were hard to come by early, but you made some critical throws here when it counted the most. Just what was the groove you got into on this final drive?
Honestly, the guys just had my back, and I went out there and executed the plays that was called, and I had time to do it. So KB had some great catches. We kind of have a little chemistry, so really happy for the guys, and what a great kick to finish.
Well, yeah, so it's out of your hands there as Eddie Pinheiro kicked it through the uprights. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was like, Christian's the best player ever, so he got us those extra yards. I'm like, I think we're good, but I'm trying to calm everybody down. Like, we still got to make it. They did a great job, and it was just a great team win. I didn't play my best, but we finished strong.
You've been granted an opportunity here, obviously, with Brock on the sideline. Just how have you been able to find your groove and take advantage of the moment?
Yeah, he's been great. Brock's one of my best friends, and I want him back out there. So hopefully he'll be back next week, and I'm just glad we got 2 for him, and he's going to go take the team back and win it.
All right, thanks, Mac.
Thank you.
I mean, first of all, how do you not like that guy? Very likable guy. Brock's one of my best friends. He needs to get back in there. I mean, it's like, that's saying the right stuff. But I mean, you want to play too, right? You've wanted to play your whole career, and it's like, but yeah, Brock's going to get back in there, and the guys are pulling for me, and I felt supported, and it's like, to me, Mac Jones, when he was in the draft, came across kind of like a corny college fraternity guy. And nothing against fraternities. I was in a fraternity in college, and nothing against them. They're good. I'm not an anti-fraternity guy. But he just came across like that kind of just goofball, shotguns a beer and, just like a drunken, just like a guy who's just a partying fool, had kind of a beer gut. And he just didn't seem like that. We were told he's super smart. He's a super smart football guy, but it was like hard to believe. Right now, it's just like he's in this situation. Everybody loves this guy. In the media sessions, he's self-effacing. He's oh shucks. But not to he's just normal and natural, and he's like a truth teller. And when he says Brock's one of my best friends on the team, and then when I asked him about his preparation after the game and Brock, he's like, yeah, Brock was, throughout the week, he was great. In several meetings, he asked like key questions that, helped me prepare better. And because Brock knows. And Max, like, because Brock really wants to win. Yeah. He really wants to win. So he get this. He's willing to share. He's willing to tell you his secrets. He's willing to help ask the questions that need to be asked when you're going through the game plan so that you, Mac Jones, are better prepared. So they got a real healthy thing going now. And the question is, they have a backup quarterback. I mean, how valuable is your backup quarterback? Pretty valuable when your starting quarterback gets hurt a lot. So that's kind of the situation they're in. This is another moment from Jones that I just loved. Listen to this. This is at the podium afterwards. And some people are giving him grief for this, by the way. But this is another great Mac Jones moment. Here he is. And just, the guy's candid. He's honest. It's kind of refreshing. I find this guy very refreshing. Here he is.
I mean, I threw it right to the guy, so it wasn't like he made a good play. I mean, good for him. He caught it, like, awesome. But like, it was the technically second part of my read, and I took a hitch to it and ripped it. I don't know. And he was standing right there, so I just got to get off of it. And I had an outlet down the sideline. That would have been my, like, second part of the read. So could definitely do that, or just throw it over his head and maybe play fourth down or whatever, try and kick a field goal. I know it was pretty far at that point. But yeah, never want to do that. But at the end of the day, like, I did rip it and committed to my throw, so I won't take that one back. I mean, I threw it right to the guy, so it wasn't like he made a good play.
I mean, that's just an awesome. They were like, hey, what'd you think of the interception against you? And he just was like, yeah, I threw it right to him, so it wasn't like he made a good play. It was all on me. I blew it. I mean, it's just that guy. He can laugh at himself. He's a natural leader. To me, this guy opened my eyes when he told us that he practiced by himself with pads on in Jacksonville in June to learn the offense. Have you ever been in Florida in the summertime? Nobody's voluntarily outside doing anything, let alone with pads on and a helmet, going through the playbook. I mean, really? But yeah, that's what Mac Jones has been doing. So that's what he did this summer. So, I mean, it's the Niners got a good one here. Niners got a good one. This also was one of my most enjoyable plays of the game. And I'd love to see the Niners split up the carries a little bit better between Christian and Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson's an NFL back. And I know Christian's Christian, going to the Hall of Fame. But he's not going to get to the finish line if they don't share the ball a little bit better than they have. Robinson finally got loose on a 19-yard run. Here it is. They've run the toss to Robinson a ton. I mean, it's like if you ask Shanahan, hey, what plays can Robinson run? I mean, he's going to say the toss play. I mean, they literally have run the toss play 10 times. And it's only been 3 games. Here we go. Here's the Mac Jones toss right to Robinson, and he gets a nice little 22-yard run out of this, or maybe 19.
Toss play for Robinson. With pulling guards blocking for him, and they did a good job too. Colton McKivitz, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and a slew of Niners open it up for a 19-yard Robinson run, his best with San Francisco.
Look at this McKivitz block, by the way.
Around on the edge and watch him finish.
Look at McKivitz
this
here at the
play
end.
Downfield, appropriate
Watch this.
speed, and getting out in front. Getting the pancake. Give McCaffrey a last and tap the edge with Robinson Jr.
Oh my God, that was incredible. McKivitz once again on the toss. He gets out front. It's a former All-State basketball player. 34, bounced on you.
Colton McKivitz,
Oh my God.
Valdez-Scantling, and a
That
slew
was
of
awesome.
Niners open it up.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. That was a fun play to watch. One, it was good to see Robinson get loose. Dude, Howdy in the chat says, B-Rob is having a problem with holes from the Niners' interior O-line, so a toss play makes the most sense. Niners tackles are very good. You know, it's funny. I asked him about the toss play, and, hey, what do you think? And this and that. Is this something that you are real comfortable with? And he's just like, I'm comfortable with a lot of different plays. You know, that's just what they're throwing at me right now. But he said he's comfortable doing a lot of different kinds of runs. But you know, I'd like to see a few more runs to Robinson. Like yesterday, what we got was 17-2. I don't know. How about 15-4? How about 13-6? 17-2 is a little one-sided. That's not enough. That's a little too much for McCaffrey and not enough for B-Rob. He was a starting caliber running back. I think the Niners are a couple weeks away from some problems if they don't get him a few more touches. He's eventually going to get kind of disenchanted with this situation. He's not going to say anything at first because, you know, he just got hit in the room, but they better get him the ball a little bit more. I mean, Robinson had 2 carries and no receptions. So 2 touches all day for Brian Robinson, 27 touches for McCaffrey, 27-2, huh? That's how we're going to split this thing up, 27-2. So, I mean, they got to do better. I mean, they got to, you know, heck, Christian McCaffrey is on pace for 436 touches. He's awesome, man, but come on. You can't give him that many touches. You got another guy there in Robinson. You know who I'm just absolutely done with is Guerrero. There's just no feel at all. No feel for football. I mean, he had a kick return. I'm watching on the binoculars. He's got a gigantic hole up the sideline. He's got a bigger hole if you wanted to cut it to the right and try to go up the right side. He's got a big group of people right there, about 10 yards off the sideline. He just full speed right into the back of his guys and falls down. Last year, he was full speed into the back of his guys, fell down, and fumbled. So maybe that means we're seeing growth. But wow, Guerrero, absolutely no feel for running at all. Big, strong, fast. And you sit there and you go, why did this guy never get any carries at Wisconsin? Why did this guy he only had 1 career start? Why? Why would he only have 1 career start? He's so this, he's so that. He doesn't see it. He's not a running back. Running backs run to daylight. He runs to get smoked. I mean, he literally had multiple options and ran right into his own guy. I mean, come on, bro. What would you say you do here right now? Nice guy too, but I mean, no feeling at all for running in the open field. Shocking to watch, actually. I mean, it would be one thing if this guy was a rookie. He's not. He's been in the league a while. Literally gigantic hole to the left, gigantic hole to the right. You ran right up the middle into your own guys and fall down. I mean, he had 3 fumbles the day before they traded for Brian Robinson. And I got to think that might have been cause and effect. They may have just seen Guerrero, but And what I would do is get this guy like one game where he gets, a couple impressive plays, and then see if there's a market for him. See if you can pawn him, because there's just no vibe, no feel at all for what running backs do. Okay, couple things I want to get to before we get to some ideas to replace Bosa, because I would have some. First, Ricky Pearsall. Some of the numbers. Through week 3, he's averaging 93.7 yards per game receiving, 4th in the NFL. 16 receptions, tied for 14th. 17.6 yards per catch, that's tied for 5th. 12.2 yards per target, number 1 in the league. 2.55 yards per route run, that's 11th. 14 of his catches have gone for first downs. That's tied for 2nd. Guy's been really good. He's got 8 catches on throws 15-plus yards downfield for the Niners. That leads the NFL. He's got a 33.5% of the Niners. He is 33.5% of the Niners' yards receiving this season. That's the 10th highest share of any receiver in the NFL. The last Niner player that high for a season was Anquan Boldin. Back in 2013, caught 36.7% of the Niners' passes that year. He caught 8 for 117, Pearsall did, all of which came with 3 yards of separation or less. So that's the one downside. He's not getting lots of separation. Mac Jones, 4th and 2 pass to him was a freaking dime, but it had to be because the coverage was right there. He leads all receivers this season with 267 receiving yards on passes of where there's been less than 3 yards of separation from the nearest defender. So all of his catches came within 3 yards of separation or less from the nearest Cardinal defender. And he leads all receivers this season with 267 receiving yards on such pass, 61 more than any other player. So he's making catches in a crowd. He's just not separating. How good has Robert Saleh been? The Niners defense in 3 games has allowed 13 points, 21 points, and then yesterday 15 points, actually 13 allowed by the defense. So the defense has just been absolutely amazing. Fred Warner, through 3 games, is literally a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. 16 tackles, 14 assisted tackles, 2 TFLs. I mean, Fred's balling, man. Fred is playing at a high level. He's had a fumble recovery. He's had a forced fumble. He's had 3 PBUs. Big week this week. Demarcus Robinson officially serves his 3-game suspension. He'll be elevated to play in week 4 against Jacksonville. It's a huge shot in the arm for the Niners, for sure. Shanahan told us today that Mac Jones is day-to-day. He re-aggravated the PCL sprain he suffered during training camp. He played through it to finish the game, and he's day-to-day. So there you go on that. By the way, I think 15 targets for McCaffrey and 11 for Pearsall. Combined, they had 26 targets. 26 targets. That is a ridiculous amount of targets. But that's really all that did. Those were the only 2 guys who kind of consistently showed up for the 49ers were Ricky Pearsall and CMC. So that's, I mean, it would be nice if Demarcus Robinson could really play a role next week. So today at Shanahan's presser, he told us Mac Jones with the knee day-to-day. Mikael Williams with the wrist injury day-to-day. Renardo Green with the neck injury day-to-day. Juwan Jennings with the ankle and shoulder day-to-day. Brock Purdy's expected to practice on Wednesday. We'll see if he plays this week. And then the new injury is C.J. West broke his thumb. He'll have surgery tomorrow, but they're saying he's going to play on Sunday, probably with a cast. So Kyle was asked about, are you guys going to look for trades with Bosa out? He said, we'll look at all trade options that make sense. And basically he said, hey, look, bottom line is you lose a player like Nick Bosa and everybody's just got to get better. It's really as simple as that. You can talk about all kinds of other things, but everybody's just got to get better. Really, really simple. If everybody gets better, then you got a shot. The highest graded players offensively in this game: Mac Jones, Trent Williams, Ricky Pearsall, Colton McKivitz, and Brian Robinson. The lowest graded guys were Dom Pooney, Connor Colby. Connor Colby played hurt, and he gave up a bunch of pressures, 5 pressures. Niners O-line gave up 11 pressures. Colby gave up 5 of them. Luke Farrell, Sky Moore, and Kendrick Bourne all were the lowest rated offensive players. Defensively, highest rated player was Bryce Huff, 90.1 grade, 36 snaps. He had a sack. He had 2 quarterback hits. Fred Warner and D. Winters, who both played the full game, they were among the Niners' highest graded defensive players. So was Nick Bosa in the 14 snaps he played before going out with the injury. So was Demo Lenore. The worst defenders, according to PFF, Alfred Collins, Kalia Davis, Upton Stout, even though he had maybe the game-saving punch out there at the end. CJ West and Marquise Siegel. I don't know how they grade some of these things because I thought Siegel was all over the place. Siegel seemed like he was making plays all over the place. For Arizona, their big, great player yesterday was Calais Campbell. Played 32 snaps. He had a 90.3 grade. Him and Josh Sweat were the 2 highest graded Cardinals. Mac Jones got the Niners PFF highest grade at 80.7. Completed 66% of 41 pass attempts. They're loading the box against the Niners and Mac Jones, just daring Mac Jones to pass. He did. 41 times. I think if you're the 49ers, you got to feel pretty good about the way things have gone, considering Mac had to throw as much as he did. All right. Bosa. What do they do about Bosa? He's done for the year. But they're not done for the year because they're 3-0. So what are their options? Let's get into this for a second. There's really 3. You've got your internal options. Your internal options are Trevis Gibson and Robert Beal Jr. Gibson, once upon a time, I think 2020 or 2021 with the Bears, had 7.5 sacks in a season. So he's got some talent. You could go with Gibson, and he looked good this summer. I don't think he's, you won't be embarrassed by what Trevis Gibson does. That's for sure. I mean, he's not an embarrassing kind of a player. So you have internal candidates. Those are them. Trevis Gibson and Robert Beal Jr. Then you have free agent possibilities. Then you have trade possibilities. And then you have practice squad poaching capability. All right. So let's just go through this quickly, because I did do the deep dive on the everybody's roster and practice squad and all that. So I want to see what's out there. What's out there that the Niners could potentially, replace Bosa with. All right. The first thing you see is in the free agent market, it is slim pickings. Really slim pickings. Now, there are certain spots you might find a good player or two on the street. Heck, the Niners found Eddie Pinheiro on the street week before opening day. I mean, they find one of the most accurate kickers in football history just sitting on the beach. But that's a kicker. This is a defensive end. Pass rushers are at a premium always. They make a ton in free agency. They're hard to get. So to say that this group of pass rushers is picked over doesn't even speak to it. Preston, who was the guy who just played for Mississippi State? He just signed this weekend. Preston Williams, I forget his last name. Played for Mississippi State. He just signed. These are the free agents that are out there. Carl Lawson, who's torn his ACL in the past. He's 30. John Kaminsky, 29-year-old, kind of plays upright, real tall guy. Shaq Barrett, who once upon a time was pretty good, but he's 33 and maybe a little undersized. Jerry Hughes, who just, keeps getting jobs. He's 37. I don't know what he would bring to the table at all, if anything. And then DeMarcus Walker, who's 30. Those are probably the best free agents. If you're sitting there going, God, that's a crappy list. Yeah. It's a crappy list. Okay, so those are the free agents. So there really aren't any free agents. Then there's the trade targets. Now, Coach Yak's like, hey, would you, how about this? Trade a 3rd and a 4th for Trey Hendrickson. Who says no? Who says fucking no? The Bengals say no. What are you talking about? Why the hell would the Bengals give you Trey Hendrickson after you lost Nick Bosa for a 3rd and a 4th round pick? I mean, that's a ridiculous trade proposal. That's like, back in the 80s when the Giants ought to trade Joe Patini to the Phils for Mike Schmidt and Steve Carlton. Great. Thanks for calling. So they're not getting Trey Hendrickson for a 3rd and a 4th round pick. Just not. You could argue Trey Hendrickson's better than Bosa. Trey Hendrickson's got more sacks the last 2 years than Bosa. He's had more success the last couple of years than Bosa by far. I mean, you could argue getting Trey Hendrickson would be upgrading from Bosa. I don't think the Niners are going to do that. Not because he's not available. Cincinnati looks like, they've already lost Burrow till December. They only signed this guy to a 1-year deal. But I mean, how can the Niners do that? You're gonna get this guy for this year and let him walk at the end of the year and re-sign. You got Bosa back, and I don't know. It just when Kyle was asked about, hey, can you guys make trades? He's like, yeah, if it makes sense. And I think Trey Hendrickson is in that category of it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to pay him that on your current cap. Doesn't make sense to trade all those assets or whatever draft capital you need to for a 1-year rental. Maybe if you were just an absolute juggernaut on the verge of a title, and all you needed was Trey Hendrickson to get over the top, but you don't even know what you're going to need at the trade deadline, and it's only week 3. You got the trade deadline's like end of October, beginning of November. We're not there yet, and then there's a long way to go to get there. So. Trey Hendrickson would be great. Yeah, I mean, trade for Trey Hendrickson. Yeah, I mean, mission accomplished. You haven't missed a beat. Now you're rolling. You continue rolling on. But let's just say you can't trade for Trey Hendrickson. Who are some lesser guys that you maybe could trade for? And this is the category that I kind of think you're starting to talk value. Why? Because, Brian Robinson for a 6th-round pick, a starting caliber NFL running back. You pay a lot for the superstars because they're so rare, but then the rank and file NFL player goes for kind of peanuts by comparison. Here's a partial list. This is not a complete list. This is just what I went through quickly and came up with. Guys that I could picture being traded, right? These are defensive ends on teams going nowhere. Okay, this is the list. Carl Granderson and Cam Jordan. You just saw them in New Orleans. Granderson's a speed rusher. Jordan is about 290 pounds. He's more of a power rusher. I don't think Jordan would bend the edge like Bosa, but he'd be good against the run. Granderson, on the other hand, would absolutely bend the edge, opposite Bryce Huff. And Granderson, I think you could probably get for a 5th-round pick. So I think Granderson makes a lot of sense. You got 2 very interesting guys in New York. The Giants look really bad. Kayvon Thibodeau, who was a 1st-round pick out of Oregon, and Brian Burns, who's, absolutely an elite edge rusher. I don't think they're going to move Burns, but I do think they'd move Thibodeau, and you never know. They might be willing to move either of them. Carolina ain't going anywhere, and they got a bunch of defensive ends. They got one guy who had a really good preseason from Western Michigan or Central Michigan named Thomas Incoom, who's kind of a 6'2", 260-pound edge rusher who's got some juice. He's got some juice, and he's totally gettable. Tennessee has Arden Key. Arden Key really looked good in the Niners, sub package. And he's an interesting guy. He can play a lot of different roles. He's been a really good edge rusher going back to high school, pre-LSU. So, and he seemed like he's starting to fulfill some of his potential. Trayvon Walker, formerly the 1st pick in the draft in front of Aiden Hutchinson, plays for Jacksonville. They'll see him this week. Big defensive end. I don't think they picked up the 5th-year option. It might cost you a little bit. Might cost you more like a 3rd-round pick. Trayvon Walker, though, is a good defensive end. Big body, long arms. Think of a similar player to Mikael Williams. He's way too strong for the tight end on 1st and 2nd down. He's way too athletic if to for guards to try to block in the interior. He's another versatile guy who you could play inside, outside, move him around. He'd be another chess piece. Trayvon Walker. You might have to, as I said, you might have to pay a 3rd round pick. Would you be willing to? I might. Jalen Phillips with the Hurricanes, with the Dolphins, the former Hurricane, the former UCLA Bruin, who's been hurt a ton throughout his career. Hurt a lot, but he's a good pass rusher. And he's healthy right now. Miami's going nowhere. Then I think you can't bring up any acquisition without mentioning the Jets, because the Niners, because of Saleh and Boyer, they just have a lot of Jets connections. The Jets have Michael Clemens, the former Texas A&M defensive end, and Will McDonald, who was at Iowa State with Brock Purdy. And both those guys, I mean, Clemens is like 270. McDonald's more like 245. He's an incredible speedster. He's got all kinds of spin moves. Both those guys can dial up some heat off the edge. From the Jets, I think Jets are almost acting like the Niners minor league system. Cincinnati, Joe Asai, who played at Texas, who had has had a nice little career with the Bengals. I mean, if you can't afford Hendrickson, you probably could afford Asai. You could probably get Asai for a 5th or 6th round pick. Houston looks like they're going nowhere. They have Darrell Taylor, the former Seahawk and Bear. They also have Derek Barnett, former Eagle, former Tennessee Vol, going way back. Barnett can still rush the passer. So I just threw a bunch of names out there, and I don't think any of them are going to cost you that much, except for Hendrickson. Hendrickson's going to cost you a ton. The other guys, I think, are probably either late day 2 or probably early day 3 picks. I mean, I think they're gettable. If you want Trey Hendrickson, you're going to have to probably trade, multiple day 2 picks. That would be my guess. And maybe that's worth it. But I think also when you factor in his money, probably isn't a fit. Probably is not a fit. So those are the trade targets. Those are the free agents. Those are the internal candidates. How about the practice squad? Because the practice squad guys are guys that are on other teams' practice squads that you can pick off if you're willing to put them on your active roster. And I actually kind of think this is the lane that John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan ought to shop in for their replacement for Nick Bosa. The first guy makes a lot of sense. Cleveland Farrell. He was here before. He went to Washington. Now he's with the Chargers. He's on Harbaugh's practice squad. He's a 28-year-old former top 5 pick out of Clemson. He's good against the run. He's got a good motor. He knows the system. He's not a dynamic edge rusher by any stretch, but he's a healthy defensive end who can play the run. Not bad. Cleveland Farrell. And the Niners love bringing back guys they've had. So that one makes sense. Braden Swinson, the edge rusher from LSU, always really athletic. Liked him a lot at LSU. He's in New England on their practice squad. He's an interesting guy. Kamon Rucker, who's, I'm watching the Ravens tonight. He's on the Ravens practice squad. Kamon Rucker is a shorter defensive end, like 6'2.5" or so. Played collegiately at North Carolina. And he's a good player. He's a good rusher, and he had a good preseason. So Kamon Rucker might not be a bad name. Isaiah Foskey, who's a NorCal kid. He went to De La Salle, went to Notre Dame, then went to the Saints. Now he's on the Bengals practice squad. Isaiah Foskey makes a lot of sense. But the 2 guys that I like the most are the 2 I've saved for the last year. One is not even an edge rusher. He's just a defensive lineman he played at SMU. Loved him in the draft. He went undrafted. He went to the Giants. He's currently on the New York Giants practice squad. His name's Elijah Chapman. He's 5'11", 6 feet, 280 pounds, but he's a tremendous athlete. He's like one of the best athletes you're going to find. He's just a weird build, right? And all this guy does is hustle and win, and he just wins reps. And is he a defensive end? No, but you could play him there. Is he a defensive tackle? No, but you could play him there. Is he a 5 technique? No, but you could play him there. Is he a 3 technique? No. He's like one of these guys. He's nothing, but he's everything. He's a 5'11", 6 foot tall. I've been talking up Willie Lampkin, the center from North Carolina, went to the Rams, now the Eagles, as a center prospect, kind of short. This guy's kind of like the Willie Lampkin of the defensive line. Elijah Chapman is his name. 5'11", about 280, strong as an ox, played at SMU, and he's just productive. He's productive. He wins reps. He hustles. He's got a ridiculous motor, and he's a great athlete. I take my chance on somebody like that. But the guy that I would sign, the number one option out there, as far as I'm concerned, is Mo Kamara, who played for Colorado State, okay? And then he got drafted by the Dolphins. He wound up on the Dolphins practice squad last year. This year, Tampa picked him off. He somehow is now on Tampa's practice squad. And this guy is a really, really good player. He's a shorter defensive end, 6'1", 260, but great bend, great motor, comes firing off the ball. This is the guy that I would sign. I'd sign him away from Tampa's practice squad and put him on my active roster. He's a force off the edge. This is a quote from Tampa's linebacker coach or defensive end coach, Larry Foote, the former Steeler. He's talking about Kamara. He said he's got juice. I liked him coming out of Colorado State. When they ran to me, said they had an opportunity to get him, I was excited. I'm glad we got him. He's been a joy to coach. Okay. Before I get out of here, I'm going to share the screen and let you watch this guy because Baldy did a video on him. Our buddy Baldy. Love Brian Baldinger. And this was granted, it's a couple years ago. But listen to what Baldy says about Mo Kamara here. And I could see this. This is the guy that I would sign to replace Bosa. You can get him for nothing. You can always make trades down the road if this guy doesn't pan out. But I love this guy, Mo Kamara. Here he is. And here's Baldy talking about him.
Watch Muhammad Kamara here of Colorado State. Watch him dip and rip and go through the inside shoulder of the tackle to get to Shedeur Sanders. Like, he's just a football player. You watch him right here, set the edge, okay, hold his ground. Now, run and chase. He runs well, 6'1.5", 248 pounds, like ran in the 4.5s. You watch him right here, and he's a spy on Shedeur. Shedeur breaks the pocket. Here he comes. Plants Sanders right into the turf. Got him eating grass seed right there and in home field. Like everywhere he goes, like you watch this right here and you go, watch the quickness to defeat the guard and the running back. Here it comes. Just powers right through it, takes down the quarterback. All right, watch him turn the corner here, the takeoff, the turn the corner, and he stays off the ground. Like there he is, palms on the ground, but he stays up with the tackle on top of him to get to the quarterback. You know, he had 29 sacks the last 3 years, but it's tackle for losses, it's sacks, it's safeties, it's fumble recoveries for touchdowns. It's everything. Like the guy makes football plays, real plays. You can plug and play him in a lot of different offenses or defenses, and you're going to find success. Like 2 steps right here, watch him stay square. Now go run and chase against Utah State. Man, he just sucks up running backs, and he stays flat, and he stays square. Like his strength to power, this right here. Like you see this. He keeps his hands free. Watch him. Watch the power. Like the tackle's got him choked, but both hands stay free, and he takes the quarterback down. And then this final play right here. Like he's recovered fumbles for touchdowns, and then he's got this safety right here. And you watch him, and it's just a great step. Like his short area quickness is exactly what's bam. See that little stab move? Bam, bam. Now turn the corner, flatten, get the quarterback down. He point scorer defensively for the Rams. Muhammad Kamara has a lot of great tape to study over the last 3 years. Watch Muhammad.
There you go. A little bit of Baldy on Kamara. I just love Kamara. And to me, that's a guy. That's a guy you can get. Terradome's in the house up here. Terradome, let's put his comment up. He said, that's him. I watched Colorado State versus Colorado that night. State had ball players. Kamara got hurt late, but he was very dominant. Yeah. We got this one too. Don't forget Seabass. Ronnie Moore says Hulk. We can call him up. And then the guy behind him in line, Howdy, says Hulk is an interior guy. Yeah, but you know what? I like that idea because I think he has enough speed from Valdez where you could play Valdez. You could play Valdez as an edge. I mean, I don't know what kind of how long he'd be good, but I think he could. He plays so damn hard and he moves so well. I wouldn't blink. I wouldn't think twice about putting him there. If you don't have anybody better, do it. Absolutely do it. I think Valdez could be a revelation. So we'll see. We'll see. J49 says, thanks, Larry. Fire. Appreciate you. All right, that's going to do it for us. We started the show with nobody in the room, and we have over 209 people in the room right now. And we appreciate every single one of you guys. So hit like and subscribe on your way out the door. We definitely appreciate you. I'm back. I was looking at my schedule for the week just so keep you guys in the loop on the schedule this week. Here it is. So tomorrow, Niners Nightly is on YouTube only. So we'll be back with you tomorrow night at 6:00. And then Wednesday night, Niners Nightly is also YouTube only. And then Thursday night, Niners Nightly will be on the radio. Looking forward to that. And then Friday, Niners Nightly will be YouTube only. And then Saturday, we'll have our 49er forecast show, and that's at 10 a.m. On the radio. And then, of course, Sunday, I'll be out at Levi's for pre and post with Adam and Todd Husak and Tracy Sandler and Tim Webb and all the good people over at KMBR. So anyway, that is going to do it for us. Hope you enjoyed the hour. Just a little conversation back and forth about the game, and tomorrow we'll get into some stuff on Jacksonville and maybe there'll be a couple news and notes tomorrow that I'm sure we'll attack. But have a great night, and thanks for tuning in to Niners Nightly on a Monday on the Sports Leader.